But if I were to tell you, all right, well, let's say that this is a 1/2 inch scale, then I can go to my 1/2 inch scale on the ruler. So over here, make sure that I've got that kind of reading here. And I'm going to now kind of measure the objects here. So I'm going to pin this one so that I can see. So I've got my 1/2 inch scale. It's a little fuzzy there. I think my camera is a little bit out of focus here. So I can measure my distance here. So here, you can see that, oh, it doesn't really line up. I can line it up at the 0 mark, but then I'm a little bit confused of what the measurement is over here. So this is where I slide my ruler over to the closest foot. So here it's at 5 feet, all right? Because remember how it worked. It went 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot, 5 foot. So here I line it up with the closest foot and then bounce back over here to read my inches. So I can see that that is 5 foot. Sorry, I'm just moving my head into the shot here. That is 5 foot 6 inches, all right, in a 1/2 inch scale. So, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 foot 6 inches. So that would be 5 foot 6 inches. And then to make this really nice, I would have my extension lines and my dimension lines. Off on the side like that, little arrows. That's a terrible arrow. There we go, 5 foot 6. So then, all right, I want to get the entire length of this. So let's just move that off to the side there. And again, I'm working in a 1/2 inch scale here. So I can line that up to, well, it lines up onto the 7 here. So I know that it's 7 foot 3 inches, reading the 1, 2, 3, 7 foot 3 inches. Again, I'm going to put my extension lines and dimension lines here and here. So in the orthographic projection, I would, all of my views, so this is the view of the top, the view of the face would be below it, all right? So an orthographic projection is always set up the same way. You have the face or the front of the object, what the kind of, if lack of better terms, what the audience is going to see. Above that would be what's on top, and then the side would be on the side of it. This object, since it's kind of symmetrical like this, I only need to have those 3 views represented. If it was asymmetrical, I might want to have both the right side and the left side shown. I may even want the bottom side shown as well. So you could have all sides of the cube represented in your orthographic projection. But bare minimum for an orthographic projection, you need the top, the face, and the side view indicated here. Now, what's kind of handy is the way that it's set up, it's kind of in line with one another here. So the measurements of the 5 foot 6 at the top are the same as the width of the face here, okay? So I can see that my extension lines kind of extend right on up. So I don't need to indicate the width again because it's already indicated here. I do need to know the height of the object here because this is the length of the object from the top, right? It's this here was 7 foot 3 inches, right? But if I wanted to know the height here, just sketching that, I've got to come back to my face, my front view here. So here, I'm going to measure this guy, and knowing that it's in a 1/2 inch scale, flip around to my 1/2 inch here, line it up on the 0, and it doesn't line up perfectly to something, so I know it's got some inches involved. And I got to be careful, it's not 8 feet, right? Because that's the #1 thing that trips people up when you're kind of flipping around, especially in the 1/2 inch and the 1/4 inch scale, that it is 5, right? Because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is why I kind of recommend, you know, taking your pencil and writing in the actual number of feet of what it is, so it doesn't trip you up, because otherwise you're going to write down 8 foot something, and then that's wrong. But I can see that this is 5 foot 6 inches. So 5 foot 6 inches. All right, and then I could come back and do that. I know the width is the same, but maybe I want to know the height of just this particular step. And oh, it's less than 2 feet. It is 1 foot 9. No, it's past 1 foot 9. It's 1 foot now I've got to read my actual inches here. So it's past this, it's right at the next bigger tick. So it's 1 foot 10 inches. 1 foot, yeah, I'd say that's about 1 foot 10. 1 foot 10 inches. So now I've got two things that I want to put the dimensions and extension lines to. So I'm going to start with a smaller one first. I'm going to do a faint extension line out from the object. And then I can have my extension line meet up with my dimension line there and there. Then I want to have a top one here. And I'm going to reuse the same one at the bottom. So I can have that and that being shown like that. And I'd probably come back and just make this a little bit clearer. Get rid of that line there. And I'd probably put my 5 foot 6. It's best if your measurement is kind of in the middle of your line, 5 foot 6 inches. Middle of your dimension line, that is, like that. Okay, so then I have both heights. So I'm never putting anything within the actual object itself because that's just going to make it dirty and messy. So over here on the side, well, you can see that my 5 foot 6 is the same over here, so I don't need to have the measurements of that one there, but I would want to include the measurements that aren't listed. So I don't know this. I know this is 1 foot 9, but I don't know that, and maybe I want to indicate those ones as well. So I'm going to measure in the 1/2 inch scale again. Come over here, 1/2 inch. And I can see if I put it at the 0, it doesn't line up perfectly. So I'm moving it over to the closest foot, which happens to be 7. And I can see that that is 7 foot. Of course, it's not 3, it's 7 foot 4 inches. 7 foot 4 inches. So I'm going to do this and this. So when you print off the sheet at home, you can practice it. And what I kind of recommend doing is try and measure it in, again, the 3 different scales, 1 inch scale, in a 1/2 inch scale, and in a 1/4 inch scale, just so that you can see the 3 different measurements for it. And you can figure it out mathematically too, if you're kind of smart, because you know that it just doubles. But here I know that, oh, that's 5 foot 6, right? I already measured that one, but what was I going to do? Oh yeah, the top here. So 2 foot 6, all right, so that's 2 foot 6 inches. And this one here is, oh, that's, looks like it's right at 5 feet. It may just be the printer that shrunk it down a little bit. No, it's 4 foot 11 inches. Maybe 4 foot 10. It's really hard in a 1/2 inch scale to get right to the inch. That's 4 foot 11. 4 foot 11 inches from here to here. But it's so important to have this extension line so that it just makes it very neat where you're going to. It doesn't have to be super close to the object as well. It could be, you can have these extension lines really extend it out of the way wherever you need the space, wherever you want it. So out to the sides like that, okay? Beautiful.